What's up, everybody? This is Ryan. This is the DFS 5-pack. So I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. It is Monday morning, the 8th of November. We got a football game tonight. We got plenty of basketball games to talk about. We're here today to talk basketball. So let's jump right into it, and hopefully we all make ourselves some money this evening. If you can press that thumbs up button, it's always really, really appreciated from you guys. Any comments can come in below. Wow, website link is below for all memberships if you guys are interested. Let's jump right in and go from there. All right, so let's start out with Frank the Tank. So they've already announced that DeAndre Ayton is out tonight, which means that Kaminsky is going to get some version of run tonight. Very likely we see the same thing we've seen already this year when Ayton's been out, which is McGee starts, Kaminsky comes in off the bench. So far in both of those games, Kaminsky has been more productive and has played more minutes. It's a 2-game sample size, though. And what I mean by that is McGee was in really early foul trouble the other night, so Kaminsky saw a really, really good run. Now, it's a good spot against Sacramento. The price tag at $4,300 makes a lot of sense. He's very affordable for power forward. He should have a decent level of chalkiness tonight, so I do think you play him in cash games for sure. He's a capable offensive player. But, the thoughts on the GPP fade? Like, we've been watching this story with Frank Kaminsky for a while now. Him playing for my Wisconsin Badgers, that was a long time ago. We've seen plenty of games at the pro level where Kaminsky's filled in and not done a very admirable job. So based on, because it's early in the day and I haven't seen a lot of numbers on this yet, I'm expecting him to be pretty popular. And if that's the case, there are reasons to consider the GPP fade. Kaminsky will not give 33.5 DK points per game all the time when Ayton is out. So I think you lock him in cash games. And if you're running, let's just say you played 10 GPPs, I would take a chance with the fade in a few of them. No doubt about it. If I was making just one ideal lineup, I'd probably just stick with him too, even if on the GPP side of things. But we'll watch the numbers throughout the day. More detailed information will come up right up at the end of the day. All right, next up. So let's talk about Mr. Jonas Valancius of the New Orleans Pelicans. So the biggest thing on Valancius is, one, we still have no Zion, but two, the Pelicans aren't being stingy with his minutes. If you want to go back to his time with Toronto, this guy has always been wildly, wildly productive as a fantasy player. Go back to his last couple seasons there in for the Memphis Grizzlies. And the worry with him was always just some days he'd play 30 minutes, some days it was 22, some days it was 24. The Pelicans aren't messing around. They're just playing him. Brandon Ingram is questionable. I slightly prefer him if Ingram is out, but I like him either way. Really, since game 3, this guy's been impeccable from a fantasy perspective. I think he had one game in there that did not go his way. He's too big to match up with the guys on Dallas. So if Dallas is out there with Powell or Cauley Stein, he's just too big for them. Boban's big, but Boban doesn't play much. And he's a little slow. So I don't think there's really any matchup with the Dallas Mavericks that we're going to be overly concerned about. So I like Valancius in any format. Next up, Shake Milton. So this could easily be his last game under 6K, maybe all season. I'm assuming we don't see Simmons back on Philly. Now, maybe they trade for a different point guard. But if the roster is currently constructed as what we watch for, at least for the foreseeable future, there's a good chance that Milton will never be this cheap again. So the Knicks, all of last season on their thibs, you really looked at them as a bad matchup. But so far this year, they're playing higher scoring games. They seem to be a little bit more offensive oriented. They added guys like Kemba Walker and Evan Fournier, which are not great defenders. So the team definitely seems to be a little bit more offensive oriented, making this not the worst matchup in the book either. You got Philadelphia at home where they've always played better. You got Milton, who is shooting guard eligible. His minutes have skyrocketed. We saw him be wildly productive the last 2 games. So at 5,200 with shooting guard eligibility, just seems like kind of a ho-hum play. One of these days he'll have an off day and he'll give you probably, 18 or something like that. It could be tonight. There's no reason it couldn't be. But if I had to guess, if you put the over-under at 26, I'm taking the over on that one. We've seen how productive he can be, and they need offense. Embiid can't do everything. So while the team looks the way that it looks, Milton should be a really, really good play. Now, we'll see as they start incorporating pieces, the help of Tobias Harris, et cetera, like that. All right, let's move over to long shots. And I'm going to say Miles Bridges. I don't know what his ownership looks like today. I'm just going to take a guess without being able to research the numbers this early in the morning. He's not going to be very highly owned, so he's a long shot, purely by ownership percentage in this one. Late game against the Lakers. This kid's got 38 plus 9 of 10. He's really stepped into his own this year. This Charlotte team is good offensively. They're very good, with Ball and Rozier and Bridges and Hayward, et cetera, et cetera. So Miles Bridges has been, this guy's been playing like an all-star to start the season. 22-7, getting you a steal and a half, over 3 assists per game, averaging 42 TK points per game. He's just way too athletic for anybody that the Lakers are going to throw at him. So I still think the public struggles to pay this much money for him, because you look at him at 7,700 and man, you think that's expensive based on what you've watched with him over the last couple of years, but he really looks like a brand new guy this year. Young players are stepping into the NBA and playing at a high level much earlier on. So when he takes a guy a couple seasons, you're always curious, like, when's the other shoe going to drop? Maybe he just figured it out this year. Maybe this team around him is built to help him excel, because he's been wonderful all season long. Last up, Will Barton. Again, this one's probably not anywhere remotely close to the long shot strategy, so don't look at that top bullet point. We got no Michael Porter Jr. tonight. Obviously, y'all know Jamal Murray is going to be out for a while still. So outside of, reigning MVP Nikola Jokic, where do the Denver Nuggets turn for offense? Look at Will the Thrill Barton. So, he's got eligibility at the 2 and the 3. Is this a good matchup? No, it's not. Miami is a good defensive basketball team. So I don't think it's what we call a crush spot. However, based on what his need is for this team, and it's not like Miami doesn't give up points. This isn't like you're playing a football team like the Ravens Super Bowl season when they beat the Giants. I can't remember if that was 0-1 or what season that was, but where nobody scores on them. Like, you still score on Miami. It's just not the ideal matchup. So if he was like 7K, well, then I would start to think about it. But at 5,500, there's legit upside here in any format. And I like Will Barton as a player. He is, outside of Jokic, their best option on offense right now. So that is what I got for today, guys. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you guys all tuning in. Click the thumbs up button, and I will see you again soon.